Okay, so picture this. A routine ceremony on some forgotten planet. It's a simple tradition, something that's been done for centuries. But this time, a single act doesn't just break a rule, it shatters a thousand-year-old peace and reawakens a war that was never really over. Let's dive into how one single moment can completely change the fate of an entire galaxy.
Can you imagine? These are the very first words spoken from a statue that's been silent for a millennium. You got this young recruit, he's just going through the motions, and suddenly this stone figure cracks open, its glowing eyes lock onto him, and it hits him with that absolutely bone-chilling line. Talk about a bad first day on the job. And it all boils down to this. What the Galactic Federation thought was just some harmless tradition was actually the trigger for a treaty they'd long since forgotten. So yeah, a single kiss on a desolate world becomes an accidental declaration of war, and just like that, the entire galaxy is on the brink of total chaos. So this is where our story really kicks off, with a young recruit named Kai Nern and a tradition he couldn't possibly have understood. This right here. This is the moment where everything changes. The ritual is called the Kiss of Commitment. Now, to the Federation, this is just a symbol of their victory over an alien species, the Cyan, from centuries ago. You know, it's a display of dominance, a little reminder of a war they won. Or so they thought. But this is the moment of pure shock. As Kai performs the ritual, the stone doesn't just feel cold. It starts to vibrate. Cracks race across its surface, and then two glowing blue eyes snap open. You see, this was never a statue. It was a prison, and inside, a Cyan woman has been conscious, just waiting for 1,000 years. And the stakes become crystal clear immediately. The woman, whose name we learn is Solana, doesn't waste any time. She just states a fact. Kai's kiss broke a seal, and a signal has already shot across the void, alerting her people that their ancient treaty has just been violated. So, to really understand why all this is happening, we've got to look back at a piece of history the Federation basically chose to delete from its memory banks. So here's the timeline. There was this devastating Great War that ended in a stalemate. No clear winner. Then, a mysterious, peaceful resolution was reached, and the entire Cyan fleet just disappeared. Over the next few hundred years, the Federation did a little historical revisionism, burying the real details of the treaty so deep that they themselves forgot what it said, until Kai's kiss accidentally dug it all back up. And this right here is the absolute core of the conflict. Where the Federation saw a trophy, a monument to a past war, the Cyan saw their own royalty, Solana, serving as a living hostage. She was a tripwire, meant to ensure the Federation honored its side of the bargain. What one side saw as a forgotten historical detail, the other treated as a sacred, binding oath. And this is Solana's devastating takedown. She tells Kai his ignorance is no excuse because it was born from his ancestors choosing to erase the truth. They chose to forget the real price of peace, and now, well, the bill has finally come due. So now, with the truth out in the open and a very hostile fleet parked in orbit, the Federation is faced with a truly impossible choice. Now, the Cyan aren't here for some random invasion. Nope. They've returned to reclaim secret worlds that the treaty promised would be left untouched, worlds the Federation has been colonizing for centuries. Their demand is simple. Honor the original deal, or the war that nearly destroyed both of them is back on. Which brings us to the central, brutal ethical question for everyone involved and for us watching, right? When you're faced with two absolutely unthinkable options, what is the greater sacrifice? One life or millions? The options are just stark. On one hand, you've got a galactic war that's going to devastate both species. On the other, you reinstate the living seal. That means condemning a single person to a conscious but motionless existence for centuries, all to maintain a fragile peace that's built on a lie. But here it is, the final, brutal twist. Solana explains that she can't be the seal again. The Cyan would never trust it. I mean, the seal has already been broken once. It's failed. To prove their commitment is for real this time, the Federation has to offer a new sacrifice. And you just know, all eyes in that room turn to the one man who started this whole thing. This takes us right to the climax of our story, Kai's harrowing decision and the utterly terrifying transformation he has to willingly embrace if he's going to save everyone. And this is what makes his choice so powerful. He isn't forced,
He isn't ordered. Kai, the young recruit who accidentally doomed his species, freely chooses to become the new living seal to stop the war. He chooses to bear the full weight of the consequences for an action he never even understood.
And the process itself? It's horrifying. It's a living technology that converts biological material into a stone-like substance. Solana warns that the person's mind has to be completely willing, zero reservations. Apparently, they tried it once before on a Scion warrior who got scared, and the system violently rejected him, shattering his body. So Kai has to face this, knowing that any sliver of doubt could literally kill him. As Kai prepares, Solana shares the last words her father ever said to her, right before she became the first seal. It's such a haunting statement, and it just hangs over Kai's sacrifice, making you question the morality of the very peace he's trying to create.
And so, let's jump forward and see the aftermath. What does a peace that was bought with such a terrible price actually look like?
10 years have passed. 10 years of quiet, of rebuilding, of actual cooperation between the Federation and the Cien. A full decade of peace, all resting on the silent, motionless vigil of one man. His legacy is just captured perfectly. A simple plaque is put at the base of his new statue form. It doesn't call him a hero or a soldier. It just states the profound paradoxical truth of his sacrifice.
So the galaxy gets a lasting peace. Admiral Thorne, one of the few who knows the real story, honors Kai's secret. But for Kai's family, well, there's no peace. All they know is that he's gone, officially listed as missing, presumed deceased. His brother, Thomas, refuses to accept that story and starts a relentless search for the truth, absolutely convinced the Federation is hiding something big.
Which leaves us with this one final heavy question. It really echoes what Solana's father said, doesn't it? If peace requires one person to be sacrificed and then completely forgotten by the very people he saved, is that genuinely peace? Or is it just a different kind of silence?